because next month in September, Hawaii is hosting the Digital Government Summit utilizing AI to govern the island.
What? Now, think about how much we just talked about electrical grids, modernizing the grid, hardening the infrastructure to ensure that these kinds of ensure that people are safe, while also simultaneously keeping consumer and customer interests in need because they want reliable, uninterrupted electricity for obvious reasons. Okay? So all of this stuff is difficult to explain. You know what's not difficult to explain? Lasers. Okay? That's it. The truth is much more complicated. Okay? You have to talk about anthropogenic climate change. You have to talk about bad land management. You have to talk about non-native grass and why it is way drier, okay? You have to talk about the electrical grid and multiple points of failure. You have to talk about a lack of adequate response immediately in a crisis, in a moment of crisis. What are the other components that led to the government not sounding the alarms as quickly as possible? Were they afraid that tourists would be terrified? Is that one of the reasons? You know, these are questions that you have to ask. However, you don't have to ask any of those questions if you say lasers are the reason, okay? Especially when you're Tim Pool. And you can tie that to a very real fear that a lot of Americans feel about another real present threat to America's hegemonic power. China, Chinese lasers, not the Jewish lasers that were responsible for California wildfires, according to Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Chinese ones. Because guess what? Jewish space lasers, anti-Semitic conspiracy, ridiculous. Chinese space lasers, on the other hand, well, very appropriate. We love that. Here's another one that was insane. Everything is burnt but the trees. But don't point that out, or you're a conspiracy theorist. A lot of people dunked on this, obviously, including Charlie. This app is proof that people are actually dumber today than ever before. Fire is a government lie started by the deep state 15-minute city agenda, and the trees are in on it. Beautiful. At this point, it's like it doesn't even need to make sense. These guys haven't even thought it through. There was at least a point in time when the conspiracies were supposed to, in their up logic, make sense. They're pointing to the trees going, why are the trees still there? Why are they still alive? Thinking that trees automatically burn to a crisp and turn into ashes in the instance of any kind of wildfire. Let's say where are you going with this conspiracy theory? Because those trees are most likely dead, okay? The ones that aren't dead probably aren't dead due to the inner shell of the trees being full of water, but most of those trees are most likely dead. But let's say that there is this major conspiracy. What the is going on? What in your mind, what is happening? Why would someone start these fires only to ensure that the trees stay alive? Somehow they found magical tree technology, which, by the way, there is actually, ironically, magical tree technology, which we'll get into in a second. For example, in California, during wildfire season, they will wrap some of the largest trees that we have with some kind of fire prevention, aluminum foil, I believe. Is that what they do? They will try to make sure that some of our, Mylar blankets, I think, almost like thin, dry wooden boards burnt more than easily than a thick trunk made of wet, sappy wood. Yeah. Right wing claims to be more of the salt of the earth and doesn't even know that you need to let firewood dry for months before you use it. Growing trees have moisture in them, so they take more to burn. I was just about to say this as well. It's like if you've ever been out in the wild and you have tried to start a fire, you already know you're not supposed to cut branches off of a tree to try and start a fire because that shit will not burn. You don't use a live tree to start a fire or even to, make the fire larger. You don't do that. It's because these dumbass chus think that they can burn down cities to do stochastic terrorism. So when they see a fire, they naturally think, wow, someone must have done this before. They think these fires are meant to create a 15-minute city. I assume. A lot of trees in wildfire zones have fire-resistant tendencies. They have evolved to have them. Some even require fire for their seeds to grow. Yeah, I like to think that China is responsible for these wildfires, but they did it in a way where they want the trees to continue. Some plants are able to survive wildfires due to a layer of thermal insulation provided by their bark, dead leaves, or moist tissues. Maui fires were so bad that a boat in the water caught on fire. Wow, that's crazy. Notice how the parts of the boat that are on fire are above the water, you know, dry areas. That's so crazy. Boats famously can never catch on fire, obviously. That's how bad it was. So this fire incinerated buildings, but the power poles are still standing. Got it. Totally makes sense. Listen, man, nothing makes sense to you because you're a idiot. Okay? Things don't make sense to you all the time. That doesn't mean there is a grand conspiracy. It just means you're a dumbass. A dumbass who's not even a little curious about how things work. You didn't look at the situation and go, I clearly don't know enough about how this kind of stuff happens, so let me investigate it further to find out the things that I just mentioned to you guys with respect to, like, why some trees don't engulf in flame and turn into a burnt crisp in the instance of a fire, or how even if a tree is dead, it might not look like it's dead in the aftermath of a wildfire. It might be still standing, okay? I explained all of that to you because, well, one, I had to learn about all this shit because, like, obviously these guys are saying idiotic stuff, and also I was exercising at least prior knowledge of what, you know, people do in California during wildfire season. But, like, the thing you're not supposed to do in a situation like this is like, oh, this is rather suspicious. Let me go post about it. But, of course, because Elon Musk's Twitter rewards shit like this, and this guy will probably make money off of this idiotic conspiracy theory, why wouldn't you stop yourself? It's actually financially viable to just be this stupid because there's a lot of other people that are just as stupid and they love this dumb shit. They love sipping on that dumb juice, dude. They love it. They're like, oh, please, no thanks. Books? Absolutely not, sir. Or not even fucking Google. I will not be utilizing Google, sir. No, thank you. I want the dum juice. Give me more of the dum juice. I want to douse myself in it. Okay? Holy moly. It's so stupid. You don't get it, Hasan. The way you tell a tree is dead is when it's laying on the ground with X's in his eyes. Yeah. The Markitect. The unmelted blue car gives a clue as to the energy spectrum used. Ooh, that's a bingo. Who the am I to question God's plan? Just admire in the mysterious ways in which he works. Very true. I don't see anything all strange, really. I'm sorry. I believe it was due, but still don't see anything weird. Joyce is like, I believe your conspiracy theories, but I don't really understand the point you're trying to make. And he responds, untouched blue car, ... slightly melted front bumper, but that's it. A stopped car catches fire, then becomes an obstacle. Eventually, a car in the other lane goes too slow or stops right next to it, then goes up. Repeats until all other cars can't get around or drivers think they can't, and then it's burning, exploding traffic jam. Once this formation happens, how would you drive around it? But it doesn't matter. This guy is trying to basically say that it is what the fuck? Turn over here. You got scared? The blue car is what men drove in to look in the other cars. Not sure they would walk on the highway. No, bumper is melted. That car was there. They're still having this conversation. They're saying that, like, due to the high frequency energy beams that they were lasering down into Hawaii to start a wildfire, which I don't know why they were trying to do that, the blue car was able to survive because of the specific kind of lasers that they're using is not allowed to, it just can't penetrate through blue. Notice how the guy's shirt is blue and he's not dead. I'm a very big brain guy. Now, so here's a heartless Dupa Kapalus who thinks the military set fire to Maui because they hosted a green energy conference in January, believing that the hurricane that both caused the fires and wind that exacerbated the situation were created to weather modification. Let's get into the HAARP conspiracy theories, which some Turkish people believed was responsible for the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria.
So today we're going to give a little update on the Hawaiian fires. Now I want you to look at this footage, and this sure doesn't look like a fire to me. It looks like something almost exploded or something went off. Now what's interesting is certain things are still standing while other things are not. Now the governor did say this is climate change doing this. Interesting. What they don't talk about is in January how they had in Maui a smart city conference to turn Maui into an entire smart island, changing everything to electric, renewables, solar panels, and pushing everybody into electric vehicles. 15-minute smart cities. So now
I want to show you guys something. Okay? Do we have Street View on this too? Hey, dumbass. This is already a 15-minute smart city, okay? It's just the way that it was developed from the jump is already an incredibly walkable, small-ass town. The fuck are you saying? What are you even saying? It's a tiny ass town, which is automatically a 15-minute smart city. What you define as a 15-minute smart city, which somehow Americans are against. I really don't know why. Like they just hate walking that much, I guess. I don't know. They're like, I hate being 15 minutes away from like everything that I need for survival, okay? But it basically was that. And also, this implies like the renewable energy conference happening beforehand implies that it hadn't happened if you're trying to blame like renewable energy for this. Anyway, 15-minute smart cities are 15 minutes of tyranny, brother.
Now, what's also interesting is next month in September, Hawaii is hosting the Digital Government Summit utilizing AI to govern the island.
What?
It's almost like they're resetting something to start rebuilding for this in which they're trying to push. Now, when we look at all the climate change narrative that they're going to try to push, but they're not going to talk about the Weather Modification Act of 1976. I highly recommend everybody look into this act, because who is involved in the weather modification activities? Department of Agriculture, Department of Defense, Department of Interior, EPA, and NASA. So if they're modifying the weather, then could they have caused this event? So
I don't know. I don't know how to like, when I see such profound displays of stupidity, I don't know what to say or do. Okay? I don't know. I don't know what to, in a way he's not wrong, lol. What way is he right? What are you saying? You think that like the wildfires were actually caused by space lasers because they wanted to reset some of the less developed parts of the islands? Like, it's literally not viable. It's not like big ass white beaches. So that in part is the reason why they don't have as much like development in that area. It's remained relatively intact as far as I understand it. I didn't know anything about it until this past fucking week where I had to read up on this shit. Oh my God. This guy seems like he has a teen kid he doesn't see enough of, that sharpens his pencil all the way down to the eraser and calls his mom a bitch. This man needs to take care of his own home and stop talking all this crap. They think we can purposely impact the weather, but our actions pumping infinite smoke into the sky does nothing to the environment. They're so dumb. Typical Telegram victim. It's WhatsApp too. WhatsApp, Telegram. I love watching insanity like this almost as much as I love serving the top of the hour ad break. Okay. I love watching insanity like this, but a part of my brain is always like thinking about the Alex Jones equation. Okay. What I enjoy for consumption as an insane conspiracy theory, I know there are other motherfuckers out there who believe, and they move further and further away from the truth. It was the capital of the old Hawaiian Empire, and apparently the land there is highly sought. Even Oprah tried to get some. I don't know. Poof. It is the capital of the old Hawaiian Empire, but due to, as far as I understand, a lot of irrigation and water management, specifically to redirect water into sugar plantations, the area's vegetation has been dried out. The area became less viable. I don't know about Oprah's interest specifically in that area. Okay. But as far as I understand, there are no like big beaches that you think of when you think of Hawaiian beaches, which is part of the reason why tourism, which is really important for the Hawaiian economy, did not explode in that area, and that's why it's not as developed. That's 100% correct regarding water diversion and lack of land management of pineapple sugar agriculture. The big beaches are down south in Kihei or further north in Kanapali. So let me finish this insanity and obviously serve you the top of the hour ad break. I am defeated mentally when I can't laugh at this kind of stuff because it's just so much devastation happening. How do you debate people that believe this? My friend is pretty normal but believes in space lasers for some reason. Just ask why. Like, ask why enough times and you're gonna arrive at like absolutely nothing. Okay? I won't take this slander. I was trying to make a point about the USDA, US Air Force, etc. did cause climate change to happen. That caused the fire. I get why people became haters now. It doesn't feel good to get yelled at when he misunderstood what I tried to say. What? Okay, you're right. But you also literally said, in a way he's not wrong, lol. As he was talking about how the Air Force caused the weather change to happen, and not in the way that you're saying it. My cousin told me last week that he no longer thinks space exists. That's awesome. That's fun. That's fun. That's a fun thing to think. I get why people become haters now. You get why people become haters now? What did I do to you? I didn't do shit to you. I think a lot of people think that like I know immediately where they're coming from when there is a sea of like misinformation in the chat. Anyway, it don't matter. Yes, conveying tone is very hard. I apologize to the chatter for misunderstanding what they were saying. Okay, it's my fault. I should have known exactly where they were coming from. There's a lot of Hawaiians here that are very skeptical of the government, justifiably, but it can go very crazy very quick. It's frustrating. Okay, let's continue. Let's finish this.
If we see that the Department of Defense and other factions are responsible for modifying the weather, well then if we look at direct energy weapons, we can maybe see how this can all relate to this event.
What?
Modifying the weather, well then if we look at direct energy weapons, we can maybe see how this can all relate to this event.
Yeah, we definitely can, man. Thank you. That's a really good one. I was a hater, now a fan of Hasan. Fell into the HasanAbi hater gossip train. Love that. During the Oregon fires that the Bureau of Land Management was helping fight, and during the BLM protests, some idiot ex-friend in England told me that it was the latter BLM working with George Soros that started the fires, and I deserved it for supporting them. I love that. Here's our crowd favorite conspiracy theorist, Matt Wallace's take on Maui and Oprah. Oprah Winfrey has begun buying up land in Maui like crazy. 520-acre plot for $3.89 million. 330 acres for $2.47 million. Two 10-acre swaths of land for $100,000 each in 2022. In the last few years, she has gone from about 100 acres of land in Maui to over 1,000 acres. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a fire comes and destroys many homes near her, but her land remains untouched. Sound familiar? In 2017, an extremely deadly fire destroyed many homes near Oprah's Montecito mansion, but her property remained untouched. After 2017, Oprah continued expanding her land in Montecito to over 70 acres, including buying a 4-acre complex in 2019 that was destroyed by mudslides only a few weeks after that 2017 fire. Wake up. Oprah's causing mudslides and wildfires. Wake up. Oprah is capable of causing mudslides and wildfires. Wake up. She went to Hawaii. She went to Lahaina and purposely lit fires up. 48,000 likes? Wait, can I ask something here? This is a serious question for this guy. Because there's always like one funny... Okay, there's a couple questions. I have so many questions. I take it back. I have like a ton of questions. Okay, number one, okay? Fire is quite literally not manageable and unpredictable. And that's precisely the reason why we need to have like, fire departments be publicly owned. Specifically because back in the day, it would just spread to areas that weren't covered or insured. And then quickly that would expand into areas that were insured. So in order to mitigate disaster, fire companies were made, publicly owned, right? That's number one. So unless there's some mechanism that I'm unfamiliar with, I'm pretty sure you just can't really control fires like that. Unless you're like a firebender, unless you believe that Oprah is a firebender. So that's number one. Number two, it seems to me like she bought all of these, if she actually did, by the way, because I don't believe anything that this guy says, okay? But it seems to me like she bought all that before the fires. Why didn't she wait until after the fires to purchase this? Duh. She is literally a firebender. How stupid of her. How dumb of her to buy so much property if she did actually buy these properties and then cause the wildfires to happen. Like, it doesn't make sense. Is she too stupid to... She is somehow capable of, bending fire to her will. And also mudslides, mind you. He did add this part, the mudslide part, which is pretty cool. I think that's like a nice little extra touch to it. Like, it's not just the fires that she is capable of controlling, but mudslides as well. All matter of natural disasters. It increases her property value. Wait, what? Chatter. In the immediate aftermath of a fire, people are desperate. People need money. This is why it's much cheaper to purchase land like right after a fire, which will happen, by the way. That is the real devastation that is going to occur, okay? I'm giving the argument, not saying I believe, by the way. I understand that. But what you fail to comprehend is that she could just buy the land after the fires because property values will drop in the immediate aftermath of a massive wildfire. That's the whole point. That was my point. My point was trying to explain why even in Matt Wallace's logical conundrum, even in his own system that he's cultivated, it still doesn't make sense by the own boundaries that he set for himself. Why liberals can't counter conspiracy theories, especially since insurance companies haven't been paying out with natural disasters. Anyway, all the documentation proving who owned the land was destroyed. What's to stop me from maliciously laying claim to all the land? That's what Oprah's doing. Please look at this absolute Giga Chat has to say about the fires.
Now, you don't see what's going on. I feel something is bigger. I've been on Maui the last 9 years. Oh. And I know the geographical location and how everything works. There was no...
I feel bad about like an actual dude that lives. I actually feel bad about people that like legit live there who succumb to the conspiracy theories, for the record. I just want to point that out. I feel much worse about people like that because they're like both victims of the wildfire and also victims of circumstance. Like, as I described earlier, there is a very real shock doctrine effect where in the immediate aftermath of disasters like this, people will take advantage of it. I don't know if he's going to do that, by the way. I don't know, because you sent it while we were looking at conspiracy theories, but...
way that a hurricane missed Big Island, went to Maui, and didn't flood them, didn't give them, crazy, other things, but it caused fires. It caused fires in not only on Maui, but it caused fires in the most precious parts of real estate in...
Wait, he thinks it's from a hurricane? It is. It is from a hurricane. That part is correct. Once again, there are elements of the story that are correct. Hurricanes cause 80-mile winds that very quickly spread the wildfire. Like everywhere, dry winds.
Maui. Lahaina Front Street is worth billions. The Hawaiians that have been holding out and the Kanaka have been holding out for years, not wanting to sell their property in Lahaina due to these big $1 million companies. I believe these fires were set on purpose. For whatever reason, it is not a coincidence, I don't believe, how in the most precious parts of Maui, Kula, Lahaina, and Kihei, that the locals that are standing strong and do not want to give up Oprah Winfrey's view up in Kula that the Hawaiians are holding out on, that the fire was going to, the Hawaiians and the Kanaka that was holding right there on Front Street, and the others that holding out in Kihei. It's not a coincidence. The last time 3 fires were set in all locations, it was purposely. The last time something natural happened, it was in one location. Do not get desperate, guys. What's gonna happen now, being in the industry...
Explain for Chad, the hurricane was far away from the islands, but they pull air from those faraway places. This caused high winds without the actual hurricane making landfall, exacerbating the fire.
It's gonna be a shit show. It's gonna be a shit show. The rich and the haoles, the foreigners, are gonna get priority with the lenders.
Do you get it? Do you understand what I'm talking about with respect to like why? Like, there are so many truthful parts about what he's saying with respect to like foreigners or rich, wealthy people getting priority with recovery, and also gentrification and its impacts on Hawaii. He's not wrong about all that. Okay. The reason why he believes this to be the cause of a conspiracy, however, is because it's a much easier narrative. And if you're already traumatized by both the wildfires and also traumatized by the desperation that you exist in under structural forms of violence like poverty, okay, and you see all this wealth around you, you're way more susceptible to this kind of conspiracy theory. That's why, like, there's a difference between a guy like this, who I feel bad for believing in this kind of thing as a coping mechanism, versus some mother living in Malaysia tweeting out these conspiracy theories specifically so they get a lot of Twitter clout and then, cash a goddamn check. Do you understand the difference? Is it hard for you to believe that rich people would do this? What? Rich people are doing this. Oh my God, dude. Do you honestly believe that it's not possible that the wealthy could start a fire to wipe these people out? I'm going to lose my mind. I'm from Malaysia. Why use Malaysia? Ian Miles Chong is from Malaysia, but LARPs is a person who lives in Portland, Oregon, even though he's never stepped foot inside of the United States of America. Listen, man, rich people are doing this, just not in the way that you think they're doing it. They're not burning down an entire town to seize control over it. What the are you talking about? Look at every other part of the islands that have big ass beaches, and you will understand what rich people have done without lighting fires. What do you mean? Part of the reason why it's untouched is because it's not as sought after, it seems. I don't know where the other guy is that I was responding to. Where the did it go? 28-month subscriber. Casually alienating your Malaysian viewers? Well, I mean, I'm surprised that the Malaysian viewer did not know about Ian Miles Chung. Probably lives down the street. The Malaysian viewer probably thought Ian Miles Chung lived in Portland, Oregon. Do you guys understand? Rich people don't need to light your house on fire to buy it. Do you honestly not believe that it's not possible that the wealthy could start a fire to wipe these people out? Yeah, because they don't have to do that. If they wanted to buy it, they would buy it, okay? They would go to local government. They would bribe officials. They would start gentrifying slowly but surely. And it wouldn't even be done in like a malicious way, in a way where like they think they know what they're doing. They would just do it because they'd be like, duh, this is capitalism. Duh, this is viable land for tourism. I would like to make money here. And they would slowly but surely build massive properties, okay? Changing the local ordinance provisions, local zoning laws, so they can build big ass resorts. And then they would benefit and claim that it's like benefiting the area tremendously and say, look, we're creating jobs here. 1,000 new jobs have been created. Tourism is a massive part of the Hawaiian economy. It's like, what, 70 to 80%? They did it in all of the other places in Hawaii. Do you think they had to burn, I don't know, Waikiki or other places to be able to do that? No, they did it in the way that I explained it to you. The entire system is designed for them to never have to light a fire, okay? They don't need to do any of that shit. Facebook Zuckerberg is suing hundreds of Hawaiians to force them to sell property to him. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg is suing hundreds of Hawaiians to compel them to sell the billionaire small plots of land they own that lie within the 700-acre property that Zuckerberg purchased on the island of Kauai 2 years ago for $100 million. If there is a area that has not been developed, okay? If there's an area that hasn't been developed in Hawaii, it is because they chose not to develop it because they didn't think it was like financially viable for them to do so. Not because, you know, they were able to brilliantly protect it from the onlookers. It's partially probably the reason why Oprah bought land near that area, because it's like relatively untouched. Not necessarily to like build parking lots there, but instead because she probably doesn't want to be around other assholes, okay? That's part of the reason why they buy shit in New Zealand and Hawaii to begin with. They don't want it to be developed. They want to be away from it all. That's why they do it. They don't want parking lots. You're exactly correct. The Oprah thing would make sense if it's about the fact that she's wealthy and can afford to have a favorable real estate and can irrigate the hell out of her grounds, thus keeping them safer from fire and aggregating ground conditions from the water use. And that's maybe possible. This is how you forget about the way capitalism operates. By falling into like conspiratorial thinking, you fail to see that people are stealing your land from under you. People are stealing money from your pockets every day. And that is just the way that the system is designed. And then you just spend a lot of time and a lot of brain power thinking up new and different ways that I'm sure there's additional ways that the rich are fucking you over. You are seriously underestimating the rich. Dude, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. What you're talking about doesn't make sense. Okay? I don't understand. Rich people will light you on fire and make bets on how fast you burn. They do it in a second. Okay, that's true. But they already do that without lighting fires, is what I'm trying to explain. The entire system of capitalism is designed to churn out outcomes that benefit the wealthy, whether they want to use your land or whether they want to build a goddamn tourist destination on top of your head. They will get away with it without having to light a fire. That's the entire point. That's the reason why I'm talking about areas that are relatively less touched in Hawaii versus areas that are significantly more developed. Okay? Why wouldn't they take advantage of emergency funds? What aren't you getting about this? Emergency funds, but okay. You think rich people need emergency funds for development? What the fuck are you talking about? They're already super wealthy. It's called government subsidies. Modernization initiatives are how rich people already get the funds necessary to rebuild certain areas. Tax breaks that they get for building hotels and generating a hospitality industry that's viable and robust. That's why I already covered that part by saying they already have the funds for it. And they get additional funds for it by getting additional tax breaks. That's how they do it. They don't have to use emergency funds in the impact of a fire or something like that. Do you not understand this? I am trying to describe to you how this works.
Not the lenders, but the
okay, hold on. I gotta open the
adjusters. Because they have money. They're gonna put the locals on the back end, not knowing what to do, knowing that they lost their whole entire life. These rich howlies are gonna come and they're gonna buy you guys out cash. Do not settle for cash. They're gonna, somebody is gonna buy out cash and is gonna buy all you guys out for what you thought your property is worth. Now all you guys are sitting on $100 million properties, Kanakas. Do not sell. Move into your family's house. I have everything that I have on Big Island. You guys are more than welcome. We can fit 100 families. Please, we will make it together. Hold out. Do not sell your grandfather's land. Do not sell your great-great-grandfather's land, your grandmother's land, your mama's land that she worked so hard for. No, there is no place else to buy. Do not settle. Stand strong. Even if you have to put a tent on your land and rebuild, that's what you guys need to do, and wait it out. Wait it out. Do not sell. Do not give in.
Liberals are incapable of disproving conspiracy theories because they fail to understand that capitalism is behind most of the stuff they think is a conspiracy, and they just end up blaming it on some weird made-up story. I know. I just described this for the past like 2 hours, I would say. You're perfectly summarizing exactly what I've been saying for the past 2 hours.
Into the cash. I'm telling you now, tell all your family, do not get.
Why is it okay for them to not want immigrants to come and live there? I love that, dude. This is excellent 5-head takes. Yeah. Like, for example, when immigration happens to the United States of America, they're actually displacing American homes because every Guatemalan abuela that treks thousands of miles on foot to come into the United States of America to get a poultry plant facility job so she can live in a goddamn trailer park where she's being like harassed on the job with the genuine fears of being deported if she ever speaks out, okay? That is the same. She's actually coming secretly with $7 million in her pocket to come in and seize your property. Great take, Dimsdale Gimme Dome. Fucking awesome. Wow. You don't like South Africa being colonized? Guess what, Sweaty? That's called immigration, okay? I didn't hear you talking about immigration this way when you were talking about people that are, you know, escaping treacherous conditions at home. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg is the same as like an undocumented immigrant or an economic migrant or a refugee. You're so good. So good. Can we just go to sub-only mode at this point? That motherfucker's a 28-month subscriber. What are you talking about? Sub-only point. What the fuck? Shoot me with arrows? Guess I'll take my cool ship and spices somewhere else. Sorry for even trying to immigrate here. My army and I will go myself. I even bought a sweet-ass Maxim gun, okay? You guys know? It's so sweet. I brought it because I'm doing immigration. I thought we were pro-immigrant around these parts. Seeking asylum from my upper-class suburban lifestyle, so I go to a tropical island and displace the locals there. Incapable of seeing when Chad's joking? Oh, I don't know. That guy probably was joking. I'm sorry for jumping on you. There's a lot. I hope that guy was joking. The tone of it was, you know, it was bait, chat. Yeah. The tone of it didn't make it seem like it was joke. The tone of it made it seem like it was sincere. We do need tone indicators, as you guys know. Or at least an emote, an emoji. I also, when I linked this, I hope you understand I was only referring to him talking about it being started on purpose. There are plenty of points in his argument with nuggets of truth, but he's been forced to believe something completely irrational. It is sad, and I could have been more sensitive before linking it to 27 chatters. That's my fault. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. This is sad. This is very different than like the Republican psychopath who's like just trying to farm Twitter impressions. Okay, it's sad that there is so much truth in his sentiment, especially as it pertains to an inherent mistrust of the wealthy coming on to the island and seizing up land. Part of that is very real, and that's why he thinks that this is most likely caused by them as well, okay?
Give in to the cash that's going to be offered to them coming. Please, I see it. I know all parts of real estate, the understanding of real estate and strategic parts. I understand the fight between our local people. I just understand. So please, hold out. Stand strong, Kanaka. We're with you.
Pretty sus that Obama just dropped his list of the best plots of land to buy in Hawaii for summer 2023 on all his socials. That's awesome. But this happens whenever bad things happen. This is always seized on by right-wingers and conspiracy theorists, turning problems they cause into ways to recruit people who are having a hard time and can't see past the lies. Yeah. Do you see any value in the conspiracy, even though it's misguided as a point of organization for his community, which might be helpful? Fuck no, absolutely not. I don't, because if the fundamentals aren't sound, then you're only going to focus on the externalities. You're only going to focus on the silly parts of the conversation. Conspiracies misplace the anger, which causes you to not focus on the real vectors which forces you to move the attention away from the real problems that are causing it, which means that the similar structures will remain intact, and ultimately you will deflect your attention away from the actual issue. I've literally heard people mention WEF, and problems with global capitalism, all to turn around and say it's because they're trying to build communism. Yeah, exactly. Because they're fucking stupid, you know? Having said that, of course, Mountain Dew is officially witchcraft, according to the Facebookers. My brother in Christ pointed this out, and it's spot on. What happened in Maui is by no means an accident, and this Mountain Dew direct energy weapons Maui burst flavor is definitely not just a mere coincidence either. Remember, this is exactly how witchcraft and the occult works. They must show and tell you exactly what they are going to do before they do it. I also responded with a sad emoji to this because it made me sad. It made me sad to think that my favorite Mountain Dew is actually Mountain Direct Energy Weapons. That's what Dew is. When it says do the Dew, they meant do the direct energy weapons that are lighting Hawaii on fire.